G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Godzilla Block Party. I don't know why that came out that way. It went, this? Like, what? Maybe it's because it's very late tonight while we're doing this, and I'm a bit tired. I gotta be honest, people. I'm a little bit tired. The sun is coming up earlier. It's beating down through my window, right into my eyes while I'm trying to sleep. I'm thinking it's later than what it is, and when I check my phone, it's only 5:30 in the morning, and now I'm mad. So I've been waking up at about 5:30 in the morning. I have an alarm set for, 5 minutes to 7, but I think I slept through it every time. I gotta stop doing that. But anyway, all that aside, it's all right. I'm here, we're up, we're ready to rock and roll. It doesn't matter how late it is. Right, Chase, my brother?
Right, because I'm going to bed around the time you're getting up.
This is true. Ladies and gentlemen, also joining me, as always, my co-host, my cohort, in my right hand when it comes to Godzilla on the G Show, Brother Chase Megsy, a.k.a. G73. What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Just one of those strange days. But, it's an interesting day. Maybe it was a sign. I should have just stayed home and watched G98.
Maybe. Speaking of G90, that's where we're going today. We're going with that. Why? Because today, yes, and it is still Wednesday, May 20th, where we're at, even though it's about almost 11 o'clock at night, it is still May 20th, Wednesday, and that is the day, 22 years ago, that Godzilla 1998, Tri-Starzilla, came out. Now, everybody used to say Gino, Godzilla in name only. It's known as Zilla now. I personally call it Zilla, or the Big Z, as I'm referring to it now from here on out. The Big Z. Zilla. I love it. And I watched it tonight. And yeah, dude, I gotta be honest with you, bro. I fucking love this movie. Oh no, let me rephrase that. I love half of this movie, and then I like the other half. You know what I mean? I love the first half of this movie, and then the second half, I like it. It's cool. It gets goofy midway through, but I mean, and it's not a Godzilla movie. It's called Godzilla, but it's definitely not. But I think they were trying to go with the goofy camp, and it didn't work for me in the second half of the movie. But yeah, for what it's worth, man, I love the first half. I like the second half. Overall, I dig this movie still. I haven't watched this movie in a long time. And today, Xbox issues aside, I got that damn Blu-ray to fucking work, and I watched it. And I loved it. And I did. I had a good time. It looked good. That 4K remaster, whatever Blu-ray disc it's not a 4K. It's an upgraded Blu-ray, but it looked good, man. It looked really good. Like, you could totally see the flaws. But I was like, yeah. That's what makes it, a cool monster movie, when you could see the flaws in Blu-ray. But yeah, man, it's a fun monster movie. To me, at least, it is. Now, I know you didn't watch it today, but I know you've watched this movie more than a couple of times. Your quick thoughts on it?
I just watched it like maybe Jurassic Park and Godzilla 98. I've been watching almost every night for actually, honestly, about the past few years since Fallen Kingdom was slated to come out. When they announced it coming out, I've been watching all the Jurassic Park movies, and then in between I would watch. When I moved back to Sacramento, I was watching G98 because I could only watch DVDs, and at the time, G98 was the only Godzilla DVD I actually had with me at the time. Ah. And so I'd watch that, but every other night now, I watch Jurassic Park or Jurassic Park 2 or Jurassic Park 3, and then I watch 98 and fill something else in, or I watch King of the Monsters. But I watch Godzilla 98 probably more than any Godzilla fan, I feel like.
Yeah. Well, if you said it like that, you definitely watched it more than I have. And I was recalling a lot of the times I watched it. I have fond memories watching this movie at home. I remember when it came out on VHS, and I bought that right away. I said, yeah, this one's an own. I love this. It's fun. Mm-hmm. But so in honor of its 22nd anniversary today, I'm just sort of go through the motions, I guess. There's not going to be a review, just because I want to save that for when we have a bigger panel, yeah. And then when we doing our reviews, but
because Gams, he'd be mad if he wasn't here for this one.
I know, he'd definitely shoot me, or throw a shark at me. Shout out to you, man, eating Gams, having a good time right now. But yeah, so like, I remember when this movie was first announced, and I was like, "Holy crap! They're making a Hollywood big budget Godzilla movie," and I was freaking through the moon, right? I was through the roof. We got during this time a shit ton of dope Godzilla stuff, merchandise, books. The books were everything. We had the Godzilla books by Mark Cerasini, and I loved them. I ate those books up, because it just felt like an offshoot / natural continuation or rebranding of the Heisei universe, Like, I just loved it. They were bringing in old school Toho monsters like Varon, like Kamacuras. Hell, the fucking Hedorah was there. Like, and Gigan, I love those books. And it was all because of this 98 movie. Seriously. Back in those days, there was no like huge Godzilla marketing push or priority. Hell, we didn't even have the Heisei movies. I mean, like, those things came out after '98. I want to say in VHS form back, and those Sony, like, I couldn't stand them. I didn't own them, but I had a family member who worked at a video store, so I got to kind of check them out. I already had those movies through Japanese imports / bootlegs, but you know what I'm talking about. So I would watch, like Chase watches Jurassic Park every night. I would watch those movies every night. So when this one was coming out, I was super stoked, psyched. I couldn't wait to see what they were going to do with Godzilla. And then I remember the first trailer, or let me rephrase that. I remember the first teaser, and it was this creature's foot coming down on top of a dinosaur bone. So I think a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton in the Museum of Natural History.
Yeah, I remember that trailer.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, different. All right, I'm not gonna say nothing, but that didn't look like a Godzilla film. But it's Godzilla. Let's rock and roll. And then I remember having to watch the finale of Seinfeld just so I could see the first trailer for this movie. And I never watched Seinfeld. I never did. Okay. But I had to watch it because they were showing Godzilla. And I watched it, and I remember, like, them cock teasing the entire trailer. And I'm like, yo, but they would show a spine here. The thing that was one of the best things, and I still hold this part of the trailer and movie in high regards, and Toho and even Legendary has stolen from this, because this was the first time it was used, and I think it was used to perfection. And that was the little fisherman. When you see the swell and then the spines come up from... I was, like, blown away by that. I was like... Because I've never seen that in a Godzilla movie before. So seeing that for the first time blew my mind. And I was like, yeah, here we go! But those were the teasers they were doing. And it wasn't until the end of the trailer where they show Godzilla coming up and snatching the helicopter in the air with his jaws. And I was like, there was no DVR then. I didn't have my VCR player ready and recording because, again, I just wasn't thinking. But I was like, what was that? Like, I remember, like, distinctly being like, what was that? Because that didn't look like Godzilla. Like, it really messed me up. And it was so fast. All you could see was, like, this box jaw just snapping down in an explosion from the helicopter. And I was like, whoa, what was that? Like, I was completely lost. I mean, the color looked off. The face was off. I was like, that was off. Like, what the fuck? And I remember, and I still have this clipping from the newspaper, when they showed Godzilla for the first time. I clipped that page out of the newspaper, and I still have it somewhere. But before that, they dropped the novelizations, like the picture books, if you will, aimed for kids. And yeah, I remember, like, getting that shit. And I wasn't no kid at that point, but I had to see it, and they blew it, man. I saw Godzilla in all his full glory right there, and I was like, okay. I I don't know what that is. That's not Godzilla. What is this? But I held out hope because I'm like, maybe the movie's good. Maybe, maybe this is going to be better than expected. And for what it's worth, I remember going to see it opening day. I took my brother. He was like, oh my God, I surprised him. We walked to the Cobble Hill Theaters, which was like a 25-minute walk from my house. And yeah, as we were getting closer, he was like, where are we going? I pulled the tickets out and I was like, hey, I bought these earlier today. He was like, oh, we're going to see Godzilla. Oh, he was freaking out. I was like, yeah, I was geeking out like we were Godzilla heads growing up. And yeah, I'd seen the movie and I gotta be honest.
Were you living in New York during this?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. And
did you see any of it while they were filming it? Or
no, because if they filmed any of that in the city, it was all in the city. And at that point in time, I had just come out of high school, so I was still working in Brooklyn. Like
Okay.
Yeah, so that movie came out in May. I just graduated high school that January because I was supposed to graduate in 97, but I had to do an extra term because, I fucked up. But, so I was still working in Brooklyn at the time. So I didn't, I didn't even like know if they were filming anything or if it was on like a sound line. Because watching it today.
Because that would have been cool if you were imagine you were an extra in 98.
Dude, you have no idea. It's like one of those dreams that you have. Like, I want to just be in a Godzilla movie. Step on me. I don't care.
Right. That's still one of my dreams. I'll be in a Godzilla. I don't care if I die.
Yeah, seriously.
Put me in a movie.
Just do it. But so like, and I enjoyed it. I remember at the end of that movie, I walked out. I mean, I was smiling. And I was shaking my head at the same time. And I was like, hey, I'm not mad at it. It just, why they do that to Godzilla? Like, ooh, what the, like, Toho let this go? Like, in my head, I'm like, Toho let this happen? How? Why? Maybe it was a plot. I don't know. Maybe it was a plot by Toho to be like, yeah, we'll give him that. And then we'll kill him less than 10 years from now. I don't know. All I know was Toho put Godzilla on a hiatus. This was the first Godzilla thing that was coming out in the movies. It was the first time I was able to see a Godzilla movie on the big screen, and it wasn't a Godzilla. It wasn't Godzilla. You know what I mean? But as far as a giant monster movie goes, I have fun with it. I have fun with it every time I watch this since, and I have fun with it today. First time I watched it in more than a couple of years. So, yeah, I mean, that's where I stand with it, bro. What about, well, you watch it like all the time, so I'm guessing you really like this movie.
It's not like it's like one of my favorite movies by any means, but there's something about it when I view it as just a giant monster movie. There's something about it that is special, and I don't know what, but it's like it's like the most cliche giant monster movie out there. Like, if you were going to describe to someone, hey, watch a giant monster movie, that's what it would be. And there's just something about it that I love. I mean, I always love New York when monsters fight in New York, because New York's just such a pivotal city, Yeah. But on the other hand, I love a lot of the actors in it. I love Kyle Dunn, Gene Reno, Hank Azaria. I love those guys a lot. I've watched a lot of stuff with them all in it. And Matthew Broderick here and there. Ferris Bueller. You can't hate him. I mean, even though he did almost did kill someone a long time ago, but that's another story. There's something about Godzilla 98 that I like a lot. And I know it's one of those things where it's beaten with a dead horse when you say if you view it as a giant monster movie, it's actually good.
Right.
But it's honestly the truth of it. If you take the fact that if you get rid of Godzilla and put something else like dinosaur or something in it, or just Zilla or something, a different name, that movie, as all things aside, it's not a bad movie. It's not like it's. I mean, there's a lot of campiness and there's a lot of silliness, but that's a pivotal giant monster movie. I mean, honestly, I'll take the humor and the silliness in '98 over the King of the Monsters stuff any day.
I was thinking the same thing watching that today. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. I mean, at least in '98, I actually laugh.
Yeah.
But all things aside, Godzilla '98, it's just a fun movie. It's like this giant monster comes and terrorizes this town, and the military chases after it and tries to destroy it, and they have mishaps, and they destroy the city and stuff. And like, I like that. You know, that's fun for me. It's not like the CGI is bad. It's the CGI in that movie is actually pretty decent in my opinion. You know, but to me, it's a fun movie. It's a cool movie to sit back and watch. I love watching it in the rain because there's so much rain in that movie.
I tell you right now, it's never rained that much in New York ever.
I know, but man, I love the idea of it. There's so much water and rain in that movie, and you know, I just love the science behind it. You know, it's just fun. It's, you know, I don't have any issues with that movie. I will say, I mean, there's a few things the ending for it. I really didn't like the idea of them killing Godzilla. Like that's always a bummer because they try to go for a King Kong type ending.
Yeah. Where
it's like you feel sad for Godzilla. And there's like this awkward moment when Matthew Broderick and Zilla lock eyes, and it's like is Godzilla wanting Matthew Broderick to have them stop this or something? It's really awkward, you know? And it's like that part to me is like kind of makes me feel uncomfortable because it's like I feel sad and awkward at the same time.
It's like it's very reminiscent of like Kong 76, where at the end she's standing there, she's looking at Kong, he's looking, and the heartbeat, and then stops.
Right. And I was waiting so much for them saying it wasn't the jets that killed them. It was Beauty that killed the Beast.
It was the suspension bridge that killed the Beast.
You know,
nice.
But other than that, I mean, and I'm with you. I love the first half of that movie so much. I love the mysteriousness of it. It actually feels like if Monarch was a movie, that would be like an insight into Monarch, and I love that. That's what King of the Monsters should have been.
Yep.
Or maybe Godzilla 2014 should have had more of that. But I love the first half, but then right after Godzilla comes to town and they have this segue, it's kind of funky, but then right when he gets in trouble with like the
videotape,
the Audrey woman takes the tape.
Yeah,
that's when the movie's like, okay, all of this shit needs to be cut, and we need to go back to where they just go straight to the mall and destroy the nest. I don't care about the little drama segue love story. That's caca. You know, I don't give a shit about this woman. You know, she's a horrible person. She literally was trying to get a good reputation by stealing, and she's wanting forgiveness, and the forgiveness given to her by Matthew Broderick just feels so weird. It's like, wait, you're just forgiving her out of getting you fired like that? I mean, yeah, she makes it better in the end, but so what happened if none of that happened and you did get fired and Mr. French guy didn't fucking ask you to join his little band of friends here? You would have that all would have probably gone to shit. You know, like she's literally the scum of the story, and you're just forgiving her like that. I would have pushed her in front of Godzilla when he's going down the alleyway.
Oh man!
You know?
Oh my God.
Other than that, though, like I love the taxi, the runaway scene with the taxi. You know, I love all of that. You know, I love everything with Zilla in it. I had fun with it, especially the submarine battle. I love that scene. That's such a cool scene. You know, and I love the chase scene with the helicopters. I love that when they're. But I am like, there's part of me that's also like, I'm kind of weirded out too because like Zilla just vanished, and then they're destroying a hole in a building, and Zilla's fucking with them, pranking them, and then comes up from behind, and it's like, how did it do that?
I think it busted in the hole. It burrowed underground and came up behind. That's all.
Now that's a cooler theory. I like that theory. I like that a lot, and I'll go with that.
Yeah, because in this whole movie, they play up this creature's intelligence. It's not a dumb creature,
Right.
and that's what I like about it, and that's what I still love about it. It's not dumb.
And I just love that scene though. When the first helicopter scene, I love it. But I laugh every time I see the second helicopter scene, and they have like hundreds of choppers go after them. And it's like so. And then you can tell they totally set that up as a joke. They totally set it up for humorous because Godzilla's running and they say, send the choppers after him. And there's just like thousands of choppers just going, hundreds of choppers just going right after him. It's like, they're trying to kill this thing.
That cracks me up. In the concrete canyons of New York City, 17 billion choppers are flying. Like, wouldn't they be flying at a higher altitude and not in between buildings? Oh my God. But
that's what I love about the movie, and that's honestly what I wanted in like the legendary monster movies. I wanted military involvement a lot like that. You know, I love that type of stuff. You know, especially it reminds me of King Kong Lives so much, and that's one of the greatest kaiju movies of all time, in my opinion.
The ending of that movie, bro, gets me all the time.
Yeah, but that's another thing, you know. But you know, and I know a lot of people hate it, but I love the Godzilla raptor eggs in the mall. That movie puts Jurassic Park and Aliens together so well, and I like it. You know, honestly, as a monster movie, I can't really say anything that I dislike about it except just the ending of it. You know, but yeah, other than that. The character development right in the middle of the film with them going to the warehouse and she's crying in the bedroom and the wife's hoarding all the homeless people in her house.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like you could cut all of that out because no one cares and the movie would have been fine. and that's why I say I want Kyle Dunn back for a Monsterverse movie. I would love for them to have Colonel Hicks in a Monsterverse movie. I would love that so much.
Colonel Hicks and not Stan. Oh my God, the general from Legendary.
That's Admiral Stens.
Stens. I was thinking of the wrong thing. Stens, right? You know, it's funny. You said something, and I completely agree. If this movie were to have came out in 1998 under a completely different title, right? Not Godzilla. I do not believe at all. I'm like 100% convinced about this. That the majority of the fandom that hates this movie would hate this movie.
Yeah.
Because there are tons of shitty monster movies out there that people like. And I'm not going to talk about like recent things. We always shit on Shin Godzilla. We do. But I'm talking about back then. I'm talking about Showa era. Hell, the Heisei era. You know what I mean? There are tons and fucking... No offense, but half of the Showa Gamera movies are shit. The first one and the second one are that to me is like pinnacle monster shit. Look, you need to watch those. But even the Gamera versus Gauss, the third Gamera movie, it's okay, but it's not as good as, you know, at least the second one. Gamera versus Baragon is one of the greatest Showa monster movies I've ever seen. I love that movie. But like those movies are shit. No, Gamera the Brave is shit. That's a shit movie. And I recently rewatched that. It's on YouTube. And I was like, oh, okay, you know what? I haven't seen this in about 10, 15 years. Let's throw it on. And I regretted it after I finished watching. I was like, damn, this movie sucked.
Yeah. Fuck you, Toto.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, like, but and that's the thing. Like, if this movie was not titled Godzilla, right? And you change the monsters raw, okay? Just because it has back spines doesn't equate to it being Godzilla. You can say it's a Godzilla type ripoff, but even then, I would say no, more of a Jurassic Park ripoff because it's a fucking dinosaur. You know what I mean? Like, so, and you're absolutely correct. I am like seriously 100% convinced that the majority of the fandom that hate this movie would not at all hate this movie. had this movie come out and been a different thing entirely as far as title goes.
And with how much money it made, it would have gotten a sequel if people liked it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But and it's crazy, and this is something I wanted to touch on just real quick because this is something like for another podcast completely. But I'm a fan of things I'm a fan of franchises that have a movie and then I don't because people didn't like it or whatever, they decide to continue it in a different way, whether it be books, comics, or in this case, cartoon series. The first time I ever seen this was the real Ghostbusters. I fucking love that cartoon. Like I would not miss that cartoon for anything when I was a kid. I loved it. And what I loved about it, I don't think it was the first episode, but there was an episode, which should have been the first episode, where they got their new costumes, their different color costumes, but it was the aftermath of Ghostbusters 1. They came back to the shop, and they were covered in the marshmallow. And the marshmallow was supernatural. It was possessed. So when they put their costumes in the laundry room to get washed, the costumes came to life with the spiritual energy that was in the marshmallow. And I thought it was dope. I was like, that's fucking dope. And then that's the same thing that they did with the cartoon series, starts with the egg, the way the movie ended. And it just imprinted on Nick. And I loved it. But that cartoon took it to a whole nother level, though. And
that cartoon made it Toho universe style Godzilla.
And a lot of detractors really enjoy that cartoon. But again, you wouldn't have that cartoon if it wasn't for this movie. And I swear, and I stick by this.
Like if I ever make it in a point in life to be in Hollywood, I'm very optimistic about me trying to acquire the license for Zilla and trying to make a sequel to that movie.
You're gonna have to go to Toho with that one, and it was called GMK, by the way. The sequel was called GMK.
I would sit down and negotiate with them very well. I'd be like, "Hey, if I buy the rights and not name it Godzilla or Zilla, would it be all right? Figure all that out." They probably would say no, but I would try.
Hey, it's worth trying. And I honestly, I'm dead serious. I believe the reason why this movie gets so much hate is because of the name of the movie.
Oh, I do too.
Because if that thing was anything else, just some random monster movie, because we didn't get any back in them days, but just a random monster movie, nobody would have had a problem with the way it died. I wouldn't have, because the entire time it was running away from these things. It didn't want to get hurt, so it was vulnerable. And again, this creature thought, and I love that they show this aspect. The creature was a thinking creature. It was intelligent. And...
Right.
Yeah, it was running away. Now, why it didn't jump on the second set of, of the arch on the Brooklyn Bridge? Because the movie was too long.
To me, it was like, well, if it was stuck, why didn't he try jumping into the water?
Yeah, because I think
jumping overboard. I mean, you got entangled, but it probably would have, the force of his weight probably would have ripped those fucking... the wires of the bridge, you feel like. It's not like he would get stuck in a net or anything like that, but...
True. I will say, before we wrap up this segment, because I do want to talk about some legendary news in regards to Godzilla and Kong. Not GBK, but kind of... But there's a couple of things that this movie did that Toho never did until this movie came out.
Right.
The breaking of the water.
Hold on. There's also things that this movie did that Toho stole.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, and that's where I'm going. They did it after this movie. The breaking of the water, the hump, with the spike coming out. This movie did that first. No other Toho movie did that until this, and then they did it in 2000. And a couple more.
And they did it in Megaguirus.
And Megaguirus, yeah. Showing Godzilla...
And pretty much every movie after that, too, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Showing Godzilla swim, like actually swimming, and not just like a maquette going across the camera.
CGI Godzilla.
An actual CGI Godzilla showing it swim. Toho never did that. Whether it was CGI or not, never did that until this movie came out. Then they were doing it. And they did that in all of its movies. This movie kind of broke ground in that regard. And Toho latched onto the things that worked. They did. And they did it better. Look, I love Godzilla 2000 way more than I love Zilla Big Z 98. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I still like the shit out of that movie. I really do. And a lot has come from that movie that made it. And again, I will go on record and say that the only way I really like this movie is that they call it Godzilla is because of GMK. It is the biggest case of mistaken identity ever, and I could totally buy into that.
Right, me too. I will say this, that this movie, even though with the faults that it had, it was a revolutionary fault line for kaiju movies of what to do and what not to do, especially with Godzilla. And that is a respectable thing on both ends, in my opinion, because it's the pivotal thing to me where G98 had good things that Toho took, and G98 had bad things that Toho decided to scrap.
Like design.
It's a foundation. It's a good foundation to what Toho wants. I mean, Toho's copyright now for Godzilla is he cannot be female and he cannot lay eggs. That's Godzilla's. That's their, like, literally in their copyright. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, wait. He can't be female and he can't lay eggs, but he can have humanoid creatures pop out of his tail. That's fine.
Right.
Don't forget.
Right.
That's okay. Get the fuck out of here.
But yet again, Shin Godzilla also is slated not to get a sequel, so
Hoorah!
They shot themselves in the foot. We're not talking about Shin Godzilla, though. That movie doesn't exist anymore.
Sorry, y'all.
But anyways, I respect Godzilla 98 for what it was. I definitely am in the group of people that feel like this movie does not deserve the bad rap that it gets. I think it's in my opinion, it's a unique kaiju film. Of course, it's like a kaiju film that we've seen with giant dinosaurs, but the movie itself is, to me, unique in a way, just because it tried to have this. It was like a giant monster comedy.
Yeah.
You know? And I have fun with it. And I just have tons of fun with it. And I feel like, as much as I love the Monsterverse, I kind of feel like maybe if you take a little bit, I don't know, I don't want it to be like slapstick funny, but to not take it so seriously in a way, to where you just have fun with it. Like, I mean, King of the Monsters, it has its good stuff and it has its bad stuff. But if you laid off a little bit and tried to make it just a little bit more fun, that's what I hope for Godzilla versus Kong. Like a King Kong Lives style Godzilla movie with military and Godzilla and monsters fighting. Like, I would love a movie like that. So I respect G98 for what it was, because it's literally, for me, if you're mature enough to sit down and watch it, and I say mature enough because that's pivotal of it. You sit down and watch it, you get past the bad stuff, and you actually think it without listening to what other people bitch, you might actually like the movie.
There's no reason not to. It's an enjoyable film if you look at it through the biggest case of mistaken identity. I'm telling you.
Swallow your pride.
Right. But so that's that. We will talk more in depth about Z98 when we get to like the actual movie review and we have more people on the panel, because that's going to be a fun one. There's a ton of things to break down and dissect, but that's just what we got for now. So earlier today, and you may notice this by the profile pic here on this video, the thumbnail pic, Legendary Comics had a virtual panel at Comic-Con and WonderCon.
Right.
And Chase, my brother here, he brought this to the attention of the Godzilla Blog Party Messenger chat earlier in the day. And I was like, holy shit. First, it was a picture of, oh my God, CAMAZOTZ. I was saying comatose because we're damn near that at this hour of the night. CAMAZOTZ, it was a dope and brand new image of CAMAZOTZ, like standing on top of a mountain, or kind of like jumping off of a mountain. There's fighter jets all around. There's several other CAMAZOTZ all around it, like smaller ones, or maybe the same size, they're just in a difference.
Or maybe it's what's going to be called. Never mind. Spoiler monster.
Spoiler monster.
Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah, we'll talk some, well, not spoilers, but speculation in a minute.
Right. And also, if we get the chance, there's a lot of actually Godzilla news. If you haven't, I have. If we haven't talked about it, so
then
I have some stuff. But we can segue that in.
We're gonna segue that in. I'm glad you brought that up because I had no idea there was any Godzilla news. So yes, this new image, courtesy of this virtual WonderCon panel, that I appreciate. They're doing this stuff. I think it's a fantastic idea for for everybody actually to get a chance to look at these panels, because for the majority of conventions, they don't show or stream all the panels. If you're in Hall H, you're probably going to get the entire day of Hall H being streamed until it gets to the part where, like, if you're doing a Marvel panel and they start to show trailers, then they shut it down. But now with the current global situation, Corona being, you can't do conventions. You can't have, large gatherings in public places like that. So this virtual thing was cool because not only did they show that, and this is something I didn't know, Brother Chase. I just found this out today. So I didn't know that they were doing two separate prequel comics for Godzilla vs. Kong. I thought it was just one.
I heard in the grapevine that they were doing they were doing several comic books.
Right.
But not that they were both prequels. I read that one was a prequel and then one was actually going to be a tie-in comic to the movie like Godzilla Aftershock was. So I don't know. Maybe they're still saving that one.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. I mean, they're prequels in the sense that these are going to happen before the movie. But it's happened... Prequel. Yeah, sequel prequels, but it's happened after King of the Monsters. So it's in that sweet in-between spot. I didn't know they were doing two. They were doing one on Godzilla and one on Kong. So here was they were showing some of the Godzilla art, but it was kind of like concept, what they were saying. I doubt it.
Right,
some of them...
final.
Yeah, some of those images were freaking... Well, first, all the images were dope. I got to be honest. You could tell which ones were like concept pieces because it was just Godzilla in a blank background. Right. Nothing was there. It was just... There's a pose of Godzilla, but then there was other images like Godzilla underwater, and you had marine life swimming around them, and there were panel layouts in the picture, and I'm like, that's okay. It could be,
and that I believe is the comic that's strictly about Godzilla only.
Yes,
where they're talking about like the day in the life of Godzilla type comic,
and I'm with that. Now I don't think it was intentional. But I think they let slip something in there during that interview. They were interviewing the writer and the artist. And I think the artist let slip that, or the writer, I forgot. One of them let slip that what happens, like Godzilla is like instinct, and he there's two monsters in front of him. I'll protect this one and fight that one.
He picks and chooses.
He picks and chooses. And then now, and this, I don't know how, this comes about, but the artist said that he enjoyed drawing Scylla. Scylla. I don't know how to get that confused with Z98.
Yeah. And that caught my attention too, because they basically spoiled that Scylla will be coming back.
Right.
For something.
And that's the thing now. What the previous comment means is, does Godzilla fight Scylla or does Godzilla protect Scylla in this comic? And that's interesting and fun to wonder about. And I honestly, it kind of gets me anticipated for this book because I'm like, yes, I would love to see more of those tie-ins that were in King of the Monsters that got very little screen time.
In my opinion, though, the CAMAZOTZ stuff, they should have waited to put that in the movie. Now, I feel like CAMAZOTZ should have been a movie monster, not a comic.
I kind of agree with you there. Now let's jump to that one, the Godzilla versus, the Kong prequel to GVK with CAMAZOTZ. I liked what the writer was saying about CAMAZOTZ. She was talking about how she loves the legendary the Monster versus take on the Toho kaiju. She said that she loves how Rodan was like a fire monster, representing fire, I should say. King Ghidorah representing like the lightning, and she was like that this creature represents the darkness, and basically was like nightmare fuel. And I'm like, because the image basically was that fighter pilot. I guess the heroine of the movie, she's like in the pilot, she got the helmet on, even though it looks like a virtual reality thing. I was like, what the hell? Then it's G-Force. Like, yeah, G-Force indeed. Then like her waking up in like a cold sweat or something. So that's interesting to see how that plays. And she didn't give anything away in terms of how that plays with, it ties into Kong. But now I'm really excited to see that. And yes, maybe I kind of wish they would have waited for the movie. But to me, then maybe they show something bigger and badder in the movie.
No. Didn't they show an image where they show an image of Godzilla and it's not legendary? It's 90. It's 89. Maybe that was something else.
That was something else. That was something else. Yeah, it wasn't on that.
Okay, so that was something else I saw on Instagram. I thought it was part of the panel.
Yeah, no, it was definitely something different. But this thing, like I said, CAMAZOTZ, it looks dope. Like, I really like this design.
I love the idea of Kong fighting a giant bat. I've been saying for years I would love to see Godzilla fight a giant bat.
You could see that in the Dark Horse comic books.
Yeah, you can see that in also the animated series, folks.
That's true. That is true. A form of Godzilla. But, yeah, so these were two, like, I really dug this, and I'm really intrigued, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. Now, I will say, I think the guy who runs the Legendary Comics side of things, he was like, yeah, and these will be available right before the movie comes out, Q4 of 2020, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I was like, oh, don't say that.
Yeah, they definitely aren't sure.
Yeah, it's so bad right now. I'm like, oh, just come on, come on, man.
In my opinion, with them knowing that means there's talks that they are aware of delay. I honestly feel like they know what's going to happen, and they're just waiting for them to either say yes or no.
Yeah, because they definitely want those comics to be released. Within a month.
They also have to know their release date, because they have to know their deadline.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I think these books are done. I think this was just...
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think this was just for show. Like, yeah, well, we're still working on it.
Honestly, I feel like if Godzilla versus Kong, if like none of this was happening, we would have gotten our trailer probably right now, and this marketing stuff that they're doing with the merchandise would have been going all along with Godzilla versus Kong.
I agree to an extent. I think we're going to see the trailer come July, where Comic-Con would have been. I think that's what every time I say, well, we should get the trailer here, we should get the trailer here, and they don't do it, I'm like, all right. The only thing now is Comic-Con. And
and now that they're doing the Comic-Con from home thing,
you could still do it. You could still show the trailer. And I think, to me, it's a good move. And again, free publicity, man. Free publicity.
Yeah. But the only problem is if they show that trailer in July and then the movie can't come out in November, now they fuck themselves.
To an extent, but you know what? Even if, and I don't want this to happen at all, I'm sick and tired. I'm sick to my stomach. We should have gotten this movie last Friday. Remember I said that? Like 17 podcasts in a row? We should have gotten this movie. We should be talking about that right now and nothing else.
We still have till the 31st or the 29th of May. When did King of the Monsters come out?
Yeah, right. There's an anime.
Put it on that day. Sorry, King of the Monsters didn't come out. Here's Godzilla vs. Kong.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, God. But I don't want to think of them pushing it back. Keep it in November. Hopefully by November, shit is back to normal. I don't know. I don't know.
It's gonna be weird because I know a lot of theaters, not a lot, but the United States is starting to open some of their theaters. I bet I read that there's 200 theaters slowly opening right now, and so maybe there's a chance. But the thing is they're also talking about all of these places that are starting to opening up. They're going to close them down again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, because apparently they opened things up and cases skyrocketed. I don't
right. And in my town had only 15 people when this first started. Now we're like almost quadrupled that.
Yeah, I'm not
apparently.
So yeah,
because we opened up, like I said, we started opening up restaurants, and I was bad, and I went to one last night, and it was great, but I felt bad doing it. But apparently, in my news, there's higher cases, and they're talking about closing everything down, which is a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, so like we don't know what's gonna happen in terms of the movie, and I hope we do. But I think these two books are done. And now it's just when this movie comes out, they'll drop it a month before. Now, in terms of the trailer, let's say the movie does get pushed back till next year. The trailer could still come out at Comic-Con, and again, it'll just be a year. You know what I mean? Like they did with Godzilla 2014, like they did with Kong Skull Island, like they did with King of the Monsters.
Trailer. Yeah, definitely can.
And then do it with this. But again, they got to learn from their mistakes. If they do drop a trailer and then push this shit back again, they can't go blitzkrieg with the marketing. You just can't.
No,
you just keep it calm, keep it collective. Do not do what you did for King of the Monsters. Let the shit ride out, and I think you'll be okay. But
and that's actually where I was going to try and segue into some of the news coming out. There's a lot of Godzilla figures that have been announced by Funko Pop that are going to be coming out, slated to come out in October, and you can pre-order them. But I didn't want to see what would happen if I actually completed a pre-order because one of the items was like $50. I'm like, wow. I'm like, I don't know if I want to pre-order something like that. I just bought an SH Monster Arts, so I'm like, I'm a little bit burned to money of that.
That's funny you mentioned the pre-order things, and it's for Godzilla vs. Kong?
It's Godzilla vs. Kong Funko Pops.
So
they have so many of them. So they have tons of them coming out.
You didn't finish the 30-minute video then, right? The WonderCon panel?
No.
So the last bit that they did was for the art of book, the Godzilla vs. Kong art of book. Now they didn't show any images or nothing like that, but at the end of that segment, the editor of the book straight up said, you could pre-order it now on Amazon.
Right.
He goes, but he just doesn't know when it's coming out.
The one thing, though, is about that art book. I'll let you finish, though, actually.
No, that was it. Like, he said you could pre-order it now, you just don't know when it's coming out. And that was another sign that I was like, oh, man, that's not the type of shit I want to hear right now. You know? Like, oh.
That art book has been you've been able to pre-order it since October of last year. That book's been on Amazon for almost since after King of the Monsters came out. It's been up for pre-order.
See, now that leads me to believe that book is 100% complete.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? And which also, sorry, I'll chew on this ice, trying to stay up. That also leads me to believe that a lot of that reshooting stuff was just for the actors. And I think that was because of the backlash. I think they went back and they changed, like, maybe really bad jokes and gave it a more serious tone. Yeah. That's what I think. Because, again, at that stage, if that book was done already, if they had pre-orders from October 2019 ready to rock and roll, then all of the concept art was in. All of, like, the director's notes was in, because the writer of the book was talking about how in this book, you know, he was with the writer, the director, the cinematographer. Right. He was like, I got in with the actors, the production, the producers, the production. Of course it is. So I'm like, yeah, then all that was in. Like, this was already a done deal, and they just have to sit on it now, which completely sucks. Sucks. This Corona Bean thing is driving me up a wall because it has, you know, my gateway to Fantasy Island closed. Like, I like to go to the movies and watch movies. And right now, one of the things that I was most excited for, especially when he pushed it to November, is in limbo. And it's like, it's so frustrating. So then, and watching this WonderCon panel, I appreciated it a lot, a hell of a lot.
And what's funny is I've noticed Mike Doherty has his Instagram that he's made. He keeps posting on Adam Wingard's and Legendary's posts saying, "Where's GVK trailer?"
He's trolling them hard. He's trolling them hard.
Where's GVK trailer?
That's so messed up, man.
Yeah.
But I think, I think if it's coming, we have to wait another month, unfortunately. It will definitely be showcased at Comic-Con. Hopefully by July, and this is the best case scenario. Hopefully by July, we have a timeline, a better timeline in terms of theaters opening up. Because right now, Warner Brothers has 2 high-profile movies before GVK. And they're going to want to get those out before GVK. So you have that Tenet movie and Wonder Woman. And they're already talking about, they want the Tenet to come out in July. They're already talking about pushing that back to August and then moving Wonder Woman. If they do that, then Godzilla is probably going to, get pushed back.
But you want to know something that's really interesting is that, and I don't know how this works because I'm not in Legendary, or I'm not in Warner Brothers' mind, but they're starting marketing on their movie Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, and that comes out in December. And that's just what's funny is that they're not doing anything for GVK, but yet they're doing it for their other movies.
I'm going to tell you why. I saw that trailer for that movie Free Guy for Star Wars, I think. Or something I seen like right before Star Wars, right? So that it's because of Ryan Reynolds. That's the only reason. And again, it's the politics of it all. We love Godzilla and all that stuff, but we are in the minority when it comes to the big money.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let's market this movie beforehand because people love Ryan Reynolds. And look, it's Deadpool without the Deadpool costume. Okay, whatever. Personally, I didn't care about I like the concept of the movie, but I'm not a Ryan Reynolds fan like that. I'm not going to go crazy for him to go see his movies. But that's the reason, because it's easy attration for the.
I'm gonna go see it. I think it looks funny. I think it looks cool. I like video game style movies. I'm a sucker for those.
And that's exactly what that is. That's exactly
but it's like I'm not seeing it because Ryan Reynolds. I'm seeing it because of the concept. I like that idea. You could have had someone else in it, and I would have seen it.
Okay, so here's is there any other news by any chance, or was the Funko Pop thing it?
X Plus has showed off some of their new 2019 Rick Boy Godzilla figures.
I saw, I believe it was an X Plus today that blew my head off. It was gorgeous. I don't know if the spines light up or that was just nice paint, but good.
Was it the 2019?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm referring to. They have 2 versions of that. They have one that lights up and one that doesn't.
Gorgeous.
They have a big version and a small version.
It was gorgeous. I love those things.
And that's something in the news saying it's supposed to come out in the fall as well.
I heard
you never know how those things.
I heard pre-order sold out like right off the bat.
Yeah, almost instantly. But yeah, you'll be able to still get them, over the course of the next couple months, I'm sure.
Or eBay.
Like Big Bad Toys, they have it on their website right now.
Okay, and what was the price?
I think it's just the standard one. It's not the one that lights up. I'm not sure.
What were the prices on those?
Speaking of that, I just bought the last Sideshow Collectibles 2019 SH Monster Arts, and I feel awesome because I got the last one they had.
Nice, but what did you notice the prices for those X Plus figures?
Yeah, the one that I saw 2, but the one on Bad Boy, on Big Bad Toys was like $189. Oh. Not that bad. And it was only like $4 shipping, so that's not that bad.
No, that's not bad.
So you're paying like maybe $200, but then the other one I believe was $200. Not that much of a difference, but I'm not too sure. I didn't get much information on it because there wasn't much information on it, but I just by chance saw it at some places.
Yeah, those were those were dope. I can't even lie. I saw that today, and I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
look at this beautiful thing."
Oh, and then other news is now you can now buy the Monopoly Godzilla and the Jenga.
Oh
You can
man,
now buy those. Those are in public now, but I don't know where you can buy them. I just know you can buy them online somewhere.
I remember that Jenga was supposed to come out April 29th because that was my brother's birthday, and I was like, "I know what I'm getting you for your birthday, but it's staying in my house."
And the thing is like it was available April 29th, but for some reason they're starting marketing for it now.
It's because of the Corona Beam virus. That's what it was. Corona Beam shut everything down.
Toho's American Instagram just made an announcement on it, and you can buy it and stuff. So that's kind of cool. If you have like $40 or $60 for Monopoly, and then you have $20 for Jenga, you know, I'm in.
Yeah, I think that would be the summer move right now. Honestly, like if cases of Corona Beam keep going up when it should not be. Then let's stay indoors. And if we're going to stay indoors, let's play some Godzilla Monopoly or Godzilla Jenga.
That's what I'm doing, man. I'm going to get me Man-Eater when it comes out in 2 days, and then I'm going to get The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, like...
staying indoors.
Listen, man, play the Godzilla Monopoly, Godzilla Jenga, while you got Godzilla on the TV. Just have a Godzilla block party.
They should have a virtual disc that we can put on our Xboxes and PlayStations and play with friends.
Dude, I mean, honest to God, though, Hasbro has done those things. They've taken their board games and they've
I used to play Monopoly on my PlayStation with one of my friends.
How awesome would that be if you can actually have a Godzilla Monopoly and you see the Godzilla sprites go around destroying Broadwalk? I love that.
Like 3D animations, I would dig it.
Yeah, I would totally dig that. But, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for this late edition. I mean, it's late time-wise here, but this will probably go up, I don't know, either tomorrow
to midnight.
Yeah, so we're almost there. But that'll do it.
It's basically my 8 a.m.
Not me. I am about to go crash Bandicoot hard. That's it. But anyhow, Brother Chase, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, and I just want to give a big shout out. Happy birthday, Gino!
Happy birthday, Z98. You are the man. Or woman. No, you are a man. It was like a man. They kept calling him he the entire time, even when he was pregnant. It was crazy.
He's a he, she.
Yeah. See, breaking boundaries in 1998. Go, Big Z98.
Go Godzilla.
Go Godzilla.
Zippity zappity doozilla.
Real quick, I just had a crazy ass idea. I know this ain't gonna happen, but you never ever know. HBO Max is coming out in a week, people.
That's another big news.
And even though this is not Godzilla related, they are releasing the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League next year. Now, why do I bring that up? Because Warner Brothers owns this thing. And if Godzilla vs. Kong is not going to come out in November in the theaters, well, why the hell not put it on HBO Max? Just do it.
And they could give us the 3-hour cut of Mike Dougherty's King of the Monsters.
Just do it. Don't even waste time.
But also, it's funny, you do know they announced they are releasing all of the Godzilla movies on HBO Max, right?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that's apparent. I read that the other day. I believe they're going to release all the Godzilla movies on HBO Max.
The Criterion Collection, because they have the Criterion stuff going on there. But I don't think the Heisei series and the Millennium, because Sony owns that.
Yeah. So I didn't do much research on it, but I thought I saw that somewhere. But that's still something to be excited about.
It really is.
Godzilla movies, HBO Max. I dig it.
Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, get yourself some HBO Max because I don't know, fingers crossed, if they put, I don't know, G14, Kong Skull Island, and King of the Monsters, you never know. Maybe GVK goes straight to HBO Max. And I ain't mad at that at all. I ain't mad at that at all.
Nice description for that.
Yep. But that'll do it for real this time, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again, Brother Chase. And
no, it was my pleasure. I love talking about 98, man. I'll talk to you about it for hours.
I'm pretty sure you will. But My time is up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for joining us today. I am G1. We are out of here. Peace.